Hey traders, Richard K here from Price Action and Income, and welcome back to another market geometry video. So guys, this week I would like to talk about a pattern, more likely what they call a corrective pattern that's been popping up recently in quite many markets. It is a pattern that is considered to not be that common, although I have been seeing it a lot lately in all different kind of markets, namely the expanded triangle pattern, which is a little bit different, or let's say the reverse of what a symmetrical pattern would look like, a triangle pattern. And because it is in this case expanding towards an end before a trend change, rather than contracting towards an end like our normal triangle patterns or symmetrical ascending or descending, depending on which direction you're trading at. These expansions tend to be very volatile. And like its name suggests, expanding triangle. And it's quite fitting that you would be seeing this pattern during these times with the coronavirus. A lot of issues economically wise in many countries, etc., etc. So it's quite fitting to be seeing them happen a lot. This must be the first year in, I don't know, many years that I've just starting to see them all over the show. So although it is not, I would say, that a common pattern, it is, like I say, quite fitting that we would be seeing them during these volatile times. But that being said, they can be quite tricky to trade, although that if you do get it right, and this is what I'll be showing you with a few tips and tricks that I tend to follow on expanding triangles, that if you do manage to get into one of these trades, that you quite often see price move one directional very quickly, which makes it a great pattern to trade if you can get into the end of such a pattern. Anyway, just without further ado, let me just show you this chart, something I found interesting on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, just on a daily time frame. It could be any time frame, could be bigger, maybe like a weekly, but I think it's a daily time frame just basically fits in nicely, showing you how two different triangles in shape can form directly after each other. In this case, we had a multi-year starting in July 2015, an ABCDE pattern that I've only been tracking here from, I think it was late 2018, when this E wave ended. Got into it a little bit late, but price did move to the downside. Now, as soon as this pattern ended, it failed to actually break or just pip this low from where this symmetrical triangle started from, and look what happened here. We immediately had what is called a expanding triangle, which is opposite than this one, or mirror image of the previous one, starting to happen over here. And just like symmetrical triangles or ascending or descending triangles, they tend to materialize in 5 waves, as eliticians would call them. And these waves are generally labeled as an A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before they end, depending on which direction you're trading. And then a previous trend resumes. In this case, the trend was down. This triangle ended and price came lower. And then since about this drop here in January 2019, price then went upwards, downwards, and it starts swinging up and down, up and down. And I'm kind of starting to believe that we are almost nearing the end of an E wave. Now, whether this E wave will be higher than my line on top there remains to be seen. This is why you need a strategy to enter into these patterns properly. But either way, just a small quick outlook of what I'm thinking is happening here is that although this was a multi-year triangle, we have one that's been going on for more than a year now. But it might be coming down a little bit and then up. It might even go higher than that, but it certainly does look like we got an expanding triangle happening on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. And when price would sort of reach these levels and have some sort of reversals, there's multiple entry conditions that we look at here with the EPS system. And then we'll probably decide on getting short into a trade. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to show you some other examples after this. You tend to have very quick, fast moves directionally. In this case, I'm thinking about a bearish reversal. Probably not now, maybe in a few weeks' time. I still haven't seen a decent correction to the downside. I tend to also work in three waves. But because they are quite volatile in nature, they can be one directional as well. So just a quick triangle I'm seeing here on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Then we have the EuroCAD, very interesting chart. It's actually expanding triangle within a correction just to make things way more complicated, which is like the market tends to do, make things really complicated for a technician like us analysts trying to figure out what's going on. On the EuroCAD, I've been seeing a lot of expanding triangles in the euros, cross currency pairs. This is just another great example of where we had this high here in March. Price came lower. And I'm actually thinking we're seeing a double zigzag. Then we've all of a sudden, since this low here, started expanding. We've got an A, B, C, D, E, clearly defined by another expanding triangle formation. Just a quick tip here, something interesting. I've also mentioned this before in one of my videos before here on YouTube, that these patterns tend to happen after a little triangle formation. And you'll quite often find that this triangle formation kicks off this expanding triangle. It's just it's not really something you can trade or anything like that. It is just very interesting to note that in about 90% of the cases, you'll see these expanding triangles happen after a little triangle formation. You quite often find that your center point of this entire triangle will also be round about this level where this first triangle kicked off the large pattern. So anyway, guys, we had what I think we had an A, B, C, D, E, and as you can see, as it expands upwards, it gets more volatile in one direction, and as soon as I believe this E wave ended over here, this was in May, the 1st of May this year, prices dropped straight down to the downside, and this has been correcting. I think we're going lower now, but in the bigger picture, if you had to obviously look at what happened prior to this, we had a massive move to the upside. I also believe that the Euro CAD also had an expanding triangle, something that we traded earlier this year, in the beginning of the year, one that we successfully traded. Just interesting to show you again how these expanding triangles tend to occur in quite volatile times. There was one day that we were following. We actually got in right over here. Price dropped lower. Price just went straight down, which is again one of the ways that these patterns tend to materialize, especially once these waves ends or these patterns ends. Let me just quickly mark that for you. So I believe this was an A, B, C, I think the E, we had it something like that. One of our first trades beginning of this year, we did not get the end of it. You'll quite often see that your E waves can be quite volatile and overshoot your upper lines. But nonetheless, if you do think you're dealing with a expanding triangle and you do eventually get into it, make sure you've got a proper strategy to take advantage of an entry with a good stop loss always in place to protect yourself. But if you do get into it and you're right about direction, you'll quite often see moves like this. So there was one here in the beginning of the year, and then we had another one that I believe just ended here in May, the beginning of May. We're in June this year already, this month already. So I think we're dropping low. We haven't even reached this 0.618% retracement of this move to the upside. So I'm actually thinking we're doing a large, complicated ABC sort of move to the downside before we're going to get another wave to the upside. Is something, if you guys would be interested to know how we're going to follow this, then let me know in the comments. It's something I can look at again. Maybe a sort of a market recap once a week, or once a month, sorry, if you guys are interested in that, just let me know in the comment section. So here we have an expanded triangle as part of a correction. I would say pretty nasty correction in my opinion. Just it looks very complicated, but either way, if you can start seeing what might have happened and then sort of forecast what price could do, then you really got a good idea or front foot into the markets, or a little bit of an edge, if I would say it that way, of what the market could be doing or expect the market should be doing afterwards. So there we got the euro CAD, then the euro US dollar is a pair that many of you guys trade. Very popular currency pair. I don't know if you've seen one of my videos prior. If you have not, then please go back. I've done analysis on euro US dollar. I've got these lines that I've drawn over multiple years, because I do believe with my market geometry lines that this is the actual operating slope or angle that this market's moving in at the moment. And here again, we have that same occurrence where I think we've had an A, B, C, D, E after this extended grinding slow move that just really doesn't make any sense to many analysts until we reached about this low in September 2019. There again, guys, we had this little triangle formation, and I believe it kicked off in a bigger expanding triangle that ended also here in March. A lot of things happened here in the beginning of March with a lot of turns in various markets, even the commodity markets, etc., etc. But a lot of them in the forex market, especially the more popular currency pairs. In this case, I believe we're an A, B, C, D, E, and I actually think we are just correcting to the upside now. Perhaps even correcting, I would say, even to up here, maybe even higher to 0.786% of this previous drop. But either way, we're not talking about actual trades yet. I just wanted to show you the expanding triangles. An interesting pattern that do appear in very volatile sort of markets, which is fitting with the current market situation, coronavirus pandemic that we're dealing with. So I am seeing them all over the place. They are great patterns to trade. They are a little bit tricky, like I said, but either way, if you do manage to get into them, a lot of these have been bearish, had bearish outcomes, like the EuroCAD. When that E wave ended, it dropped straight down. I'm thinking we're seeing the same thing in Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, but there's a lot of things that still need to happen before I'll plan on getting bearish there. And then the Euro US dollar, I think, also ended an E wave, and we might just be heading lower right now at some stage. Not right now, but definitely, if my strategy, the EPS strategy, would be saying to get in, then my signals are all there. I'll definitely try to get in. By the way, if you are unfamiliar with my work, I'm the creator of the exponential profit system, or the EPS strategy for short, where I use market geometry and various other techniques to pinpoint very accurate entry conditions, or entry points, after corrections, and then trading with a major trend. So if it's something you've not checked out, then please go and read that in the comment section below. There will be a few links available there. If you like today's video, then please don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't done so. Please subscribe to our channel. We do a video once a week on market geometry. If you haven't done so before, go and catch up on all the other videos I've done previously. And that's it for me, guys, today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, just showing you a little bit more of what these expanding triangles kind of look like. There are some few clues here of where some of these markers I've just covered in this video could be heading. So guys, if you want to see more of this sort of videos, then let me know in the comment section. If you've got any sort of market geometry related analysis that I haven't covered before that you would like me to have a look at, then also please drop that in the comment section and I'll be happy to have a look at it. Okay guys, until next time, this is Richard K from Price Action Income. Goodbye.